Welcome to Season 3 of the Knack for Business podcast. Over 200 episodes strong, we're here to ignite your entrepreneurial spirit with fresh insights, networking gems, and creative strategies that elevate your game. Are you ready to discover what your Knack for Business truly is?
Today's topic is, help please. Do I compete with AI? Your hosts are Bernie Francisco from Creative Insight and Wayne Pratt from Motivate You Inc. What can you expect from the Knack for Business podcast? It aims to help you find your feet in the business world, whether you're just starting out or you've been at it for a while. In each episode, they dive deep into a particular area of business and explore the ins and outs of that subject. Our guest today is Karina Kantas from Author Assist. Karina is a dynamic author and entrepreneur known for her versatility across multiple creative mediums. With a background in fiction writing, she has penned numerous novels spanning genres from urban thrillers to dystopian fiction. Beyond the written word, Karina is also a seasoned business consultant, offering services like author assistance and publishing advice. Her passion for creativity and her knack for storytelling shines through in her work as a podcaster, speaker, and mentor to aspiring authors. Karina blends her entrepreneurial skills with her artistic flair, creating a powerful platform for writers and creators alike. Karina, welcome. And what's your favorite quote or saying?
Thank you for having me. My quote is, you need to ride the roller coaster of life to find the right track. We know what life is. It's a bumpy ride. It's a roller coaster. We all go ups and downs, and we have to go through the downs to find the right path.
Tell us about your journey as an author and entrepreneur. What track did you start out in? And we know where you ended up.
Okay, let's try and get this as short as I can. I was 18 when I wrote my first short story. No, I was younger, 15. It was a short story. It was 20 pages. I've always been creative and had a wild imagination. And my favorite author was S.E. Hinton. And I loved The Outsiders. I wanted to write something similar and get my book into the English curriculum, get my book into the libraries. I was so determined and naive, unfortunately. So I wrote it as a short story and forgot about it. Then I moved to Greece and I was very bored in this tiny village. So I pulled the story out and I started typing it up. One page turned into 20. I had a book. It just flowed. The story came out of me. I then tidied it up, did my editing, as all new authors think they can. They don't know the importance of editors, formatting and cover design when you first start out. I contacted agents and publishers to see if anyone would take it. Nobody picked up. Some people asked for the manuscript, but I was new. I didn't know what I was doing. It wasn't ready. So I did it myself. I self-published. I got burnt by a vanity press. Lesson learned. I was in hospital and my husband at the time bought this parcel to me and I forgot. I didn't know what it was. I opened it up and there was my book, my story, my cover, my name. I was jumping up and down, holding this book close to my chest. It was the most magical, amazing feeling. When I came down from the high, I thought, now what do I do? How do I get people to know about my book? How do I get people to read it? At the time, there was no Kindle. We're talking paperbacks here. There was no one to help me, no one to give me those answers. That's when I saw a room in the marketplace for people like me that had no idea of where to go next and needed guidance and someone they could trust. Author Assist started off with me doing my own book trailers and narrations, and other authors have seen these videos and they're like, oh, can you do one for me? Author Assist started off with those two services. 30 years later, we have over 30 services. We have the publishing packages, the multimedia packages, the coaching and mentoring. I help authors in every aspect from the beginning of brainstorming an idea right through to the marketing and promotion of their final product.
Wow. All that from age 15. That is a really great story. Just one quick question. Where did you get, I know you had time on your hands, but what said, I'm going to write this as opposed to the bumblebee went flying by, as opposed to how to build a bicycle from IKEA, if that's such a thing. How did you pick your genres?
Have you ever seen the film Outsiders or read the book by S.E. Hinton or any of her books?
Not recollecting.
No.
them.
The film, The Outsiders, was actually all the Brat Pack. It was Emilio Estefan, Rob Lowe, Matt Dillon, Patrick Swayze, all of the Brat Pack. And it was about greasers and socialists, two sides of the coin. And even though they didn't have family, they did because of the people that surrounded them and that gave them the love and respect. That was their family. And that really resonated to me because I never felt like I belonged anywhere. I felt like an outsider. And the idea that there was a group out there I could belong to and be respected and loved, stuck in my head. I wanted to write my story. I always say to authors, with your first book, write about what you know. Don't write about a brain surgeon because you'll be hours and hours researching. Write about what you know because the passion comes out when you do. And because I was at that time a little bit of a rebel teenager, I had a lot to write about. A lot of my own experiences went into that book. People don't know what parts were mine and which parts were made up, and I won't say, but it was very biographical and gave me a lot of closure on some things. After that, I thought it was just going to be one book and finished. But then my readers demanded a sequel. So the sequel came. Then I decided I've just done two book about biker gangs, biker clubs, male oriented. Why don't I do one about a female biker gang? Let the females take over. Lawless Justice was the third book. In between the third and the fourth book, I was doing short stories, getting them published in magazines, online in newspapers. I put two collections together of short stories and poetry that I'd had published. Then I did a fourth book, and I wanted it to be like a box set. Unfortunately, the Times of Violence, the first book, was young adult. Now, Lawless Justice, Huntress, and Road Rage were adult, very graphic, very violent. I couldn't put these together. I knew I had to do an adult version of my first book. It took 20 years before I did the first draft of that. In between then, I did Stone Cold, which is supernatural, paranormal. I did a 2-book fantasy series, which is like Lord of the Rings versus Harry Potter, but none of the characters that you've seen in Lord of the Rings are in my book. There's no elves, there's no wizards, nothing like that. All unique. I did a dystopian. I did some horror book. I'm very eclectic. I don't stick to one genre. I did for the first 4 books. But when I was doing these small short stories like flash fiction, I was doing sci-fi, fantasy, romance. And because I enjoyed doing that genre, it then went on to the fantasy duology, then to the supernatural. And I have lots of little stories ready to make another collection of short stories that I've worked on over the years. I haven't picked up a pen in about a year, though. And my poor old readers are screaming for this adult version of In Times of Violence, which is in first draft form, and I will get to it. I need to find motivation to get writing again.
Karina, one thing I'm interested in, you are a published author.
Yes.
You saw somebody who wanted to be an author. The first person said, I need your help. Tell me about that journey where you went, I can give her a hand to this is a business.
My first client, and I've only just finished working with her. So it's been nearly 15 years I was with Victoria Sekenti. Love you, darling. Mwah. She was on her first novel and hired me as a VA. I basically took over. I said, if we're going to do this launch, we're going to do it right. So I launched a book and it was successful. It went to Amazon bestseller. I was with her 24/7. She could contact me anytime with any questions. We went through the process of the launch, getting the next book ready. She asked my opinion. All these years, she's always asked my opinion on book covers, gets me to read her synopsis. I'm always there for her to give advice, and she always comes to me for advice. Even though we're not working together anymore, she still comes to me for advice if she needs it. Any author that I've worked with previously knows that they can knock on my door anytime. I'm never off the clock for them. I help everything from helping them, like I said, getting the book written. For those that have been blocked, I can help them get over that hurdle and get them back to writing again, get them finishing their book, show them how to launch it successfully, show them the basics of marketing and promoting themselves and their books. In between that, let's get you a basic website. Let's get you a newsletter set up. Let's get that book trailer done. Author Assist takes care of everything.
Journey where you're helping people is fascinating, and it makes really good sense because you're going to be good at what you do, and what you're not good at, you find other people. And AI sometimes also offers that element. You got to learn about it. What are the things that you ended up finding about AI to help support your business process? Go ahead.
Yeah, I tried to avoid AI from the beginning. The idea of oh, what it is and what it can do just freaks the hell out of me. Think about Terminator and everything. It's going to get to that place one day. When GP was the first thing that came out, how much power we give AI just absolutely terrified me. I've been avoiding it as much as I can. I know a lot of people out there are scared of it. It's not that we don't understand it, it's because of how much power it's got. Now, I'm going to do my clients disservice if I don't start working with AI because it is the future. I have no choice in the matter. This is for business, for personal, for life. I've been using AI without even realizing. We're through Grammarly for the last how long? That's AI. And you don't realize because you think AI is ChatGPT and graphics. And that is the problem here. When AI came out and nonfiction authors decided, I want to write a book, but I'm not going to write it. I'm going to have AI write it. Amazon then accepted all the AI books, never told the consumer that they were buying AI books. So it's been done about that because we did a huge petition over that. My business just went because I do graphics, I do voiceovers, I do the trailers, I do content writing, and I don't ghostwrite, but I help them write their book, their voice, their words. And that's the difference between AI and a human person writing a book. So how do I compete with AI? If I've lost my clients because they're going to AI, how do I compete with that? I had to take a seat back. I had to think, I can't, not after 30 years, not after what I've done for people. There has to be a way that I can work with AI. I had to look at my strengths when it comes to the knowledge that I have of how the writing work, how you write, how the publishing works, the ins and outs, the do's and don'ts. AI doesn't know that. AI can't give that over to someone because they've never experienced it. All they're getting is from information online. You can get an answer through Google or AI. However, when someone's experienced those ups and downs, made those mistakes themselves, they're able to pass that information on to someone else. That person's then able to pass it on to someone else. That's the way I can help people. It's carrying on doing what I'm doing, working with AI, accepting it, still trying to get that human aspect into their books. If you want to write a book, let AI write a book. Don't let AI do your cover. Let's do someone else to do your cover. Get the blurb done by your voice, your words. We've got to interact with AI, but we don't have to allow AI to take over everything.
One thing that I find interesting, everyone feels they have a book in them, but that doesn't mean everyone should be published. What do you do when someone comes to you with a really wooden, untenable book?
Okay, I had this gentleman come to me. He was doing a text talk and he wanted to write a book about the game. And he's given me like 1 month before his text talk. And I said, you've got no book, you've got no launch date, and you want it done in 1 month. Editing, formatting, cover, everything. Yeah, I love a challenge. So I spoke to my team. Can we do this? They were like, yeah, we can do this. What did I get back? Notes. That's all I got back. Notes. There was nothing in order. There was no way of doing chapters or anything. However, we did it. He had his ebook. He had the cover that he wanted. It went to Amazon #1 bestseller. So if someone, say for fiction and someone can't write, they have an idea. Let's work on that idea. I'm not a teacher. I can't teach them English, but we can show them the basic so they can teach themselves. We can tell them where to go to get that help. I know people that do writing courses. If they're serious about getting this book done and they want to write it themselves, there are people that can help. I've never turned someone away. If
Wow.
I can't help them, I find someone else who can.
Do you think sometimes people just want the easy button?
Authors, yeah, because
And
they're entrepreneurs. Book is the biggest marketing tool for an entrepreneur. It shows their authenticity. It shows they're an expert in what they do. I was working with so many fiction authors back in the day, and then turned to help nonfiction authors. Then AI came out. Now I don't have to write it. I just have to press that easy button.
When you did the processing, where you went from the overlords are coming to how do I learn to work with them? At the end of the day, does AI threaten or boost creativity?
Honestly, it has threatened. So many people, designers, have lost work because of it. They're now going to AI for cover designs and graphics. I still do graphics for my clients. The human aspect is lost in art fiction. In content writing, I can tell when something's been written by AI because it is so repetitive. It is so robotic. Passion or a voice, that's what's missing, the voice of the author. If someone can't write and they want to do a book, maybe they're into word, health, business, whatever, then yes, use AI, but be very careful because the stuff that AI is giving you is taken from somewhere else. And then you've got the copyright issue. You need to rework whatever AI gives you anyway. So you're going to work. You've got to do some work. It has some human aspect to it. You can't just allow it to write a book and then publish it. And that's another problem.
so are you saying that text published material versus electronically published material, there's a gap in it's plagiarism is the issue? And obviously, if you're writing a thesis, you don't want to take someone else's thesis because the idea is to have an idea. So you would basically say then that the AI will help you work through a solution. It's not the solution, it's a leg of the solution itself. Would that be fair to say?
It's a helping aid, and I wish people would use it as a helping aid and not, as you say, a solution. Say I want to do a post on LinkedIn to say it more business-like than I can think of. I'll go onto AI, I'll type in what I need to say. AI would give me that beautiful post, and I'll put it on LinkedIn. That's fine. That's ethical. That's okay. You have graphic that you can go onto Copilot and say, draw me a brown bear and a lady with purple hair sitting beside it, a train in the background, and it will draw that. It doesn't mean that hasn't already been done or given to somebody else. But you're going to get overlaps with fiction, with scenes, with content, with graphics. There will be overlaps. It's like a stock photo. How many people have used that stock photo? AI is getting it from somewhere. They can morph it, they can change it, but then it's going to be morphed and changed again for somebody else. Eventually, you're going to get repeats of everything. I find, as I said before about content writing, it knows what it wants to say, but then it says it again, but changes wording and repeats itself, thinks it's really smart by doing that because it sounds like it knows what it's saying. But when you read it back, it is repeating itself just in a different content. I can point out quite easily what's written by AI because there's no voice, there's no mistakes. And that's the human part of writing. We're not perfect, and it comes out in our writing. It's like a character. You have the perfect prince who can't do a thing wrong. He's handsome, he's gorgeous. He doesn't exist. He's not real. Stay real. Stay real to your writing. Stay real to who you are, and use AI for what it was supposed to be used for. It's advanced so much, it is frightening. However, we do have to work with it. We can't, ignore it anymore because it's doing a disservice to my clients. We have to work with it, but we don't have to give it all the power.
It's interesting because you mentioned that either you're doing artwork, stock photo, etc. In the music industry, not outside of AI, someone says you must have listened to this tune because you're following the same beat, string of words. Is there always a fear that when you start writing, even before AI, you're going to start a journey about space, and there's an evil guy and a good guy and a lightsaber? Can you tell where I'm going? Now, we won't be playing anything in the stars, because that's a different type of war. Let's say we'll make it into the early 1100s and somewhere fantasy land, right? And it's almost a lot of parallels in most stories. When you construct as an author, how do you become unique in that? I wish you could have told my English teachers, that hair burning when he's writing, he's not going to be perfect, not the perfect prince. And that would have saved a lot of grief for everybody. But you still have to do the labor, right, to get better. How do you avoid the plagiarism effect? Or there might be another name for it. How do you avoid that in the first place?
There's no avoidance because it doesn't matter what storyline you've got, it's been written before. The difference is it's your voice, it's your imagination, and your words. Illusional Realities and The Quest is a two-book duology. I wrote it after watching Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings inspired me to write Illusional Reality. And it could have been a trilogy. I stopped at duology. I mean, there could be a third book, who knows? It was after the second film, my second book came out. And the second film was more about the journey of the hobbits. In my book, it was about the journey of them leaving their forest and going outside. I used the same concept. However, nothing from Lord of the Rings happened in my book. None of the characters from Lord of the Rings are in my book. Everything is unique that way. However, the good versus evil, the hero, the villain, the magic you need inner fantasy is all there. It was inspired by Tolkien, but that's as far as it will go. There are millions of books and millions are being published every week. There's no way someone has a totally unique, never before done idea. However, if written from their heart, that makes it unique because nobody can write that story except you.
If you want to put the human touch into a product using tools that make you as current and as efficient as possible, how do you walk through those lanes?
Yeah, that's a difficult question. It's how much power you want to give AI, how much you want to use it. Are you going to allow your own vision and passion to come out in it? It's definitely a thin line of how much you use AI in your creativity. Some might press the easy button, use it to write the book, design the cover, content writing, promotion. You can do anything with AI now. There's nothing AI can't do. Narrations, voiceovers, it does everything now. However, it's your book, it's your story. Do you want to give it away? Do you want someone else to write it? Or do you want your words to come out? And there's A huge difference is with the cover design as well, especially non-fiction books. They're so regimented. The title, graphic, and something at the bottom of glowing tree and sunlight or whatever for woo and all that. Be unique, be different. And AI can't do that because AI is following the norm and what is selling. Would your book stand out more if you took a different approach and used your own ideas? AI is getting the designs, the words, the content writing, the stories from somewhere. If you can use AI for advice when you're stuck, to plot your story, to help you with your editing, for me, I don't see a problem with that. But when you're allowing it to do everything, then the creativity is lost.
You may not be aware, but there was a big screenwriter strike in the States.
Oh, I was aware.
And the thing that I don't understand is, why do the screenwriters seem more fragile than authors?
Yeah, I tried to my hand at screenwriting. It's a different kettle of fish. The style of the writing. I don't think all authors can be screenwriters. It's a totally different style of writing. I've never actually seen an AI script, so that would be interesting to see how much passion and voice comes out in a script and the difference between that and a chapter in a novel. It's not just that screenwriters that are scared with the way things are going. It's the designers and the authors, those that put their heart and soul into writing that story, only to have someone come along and sell their book for free or 99 pence or get AI. It's AI assisted, and then there's AI written. There's two. AI assisted, that's hybrid. So you have the human element in that book, but you've also had help from AI. A totally written AI book. It's not fair on those out there that do take that time and want to write that book from the heart. It's not fair on those authors. However, it's here now. There's nothing we can do. Amazon isn't going to stop publishing them. So we have to compete and work with AI.
Way to, you see this in grocery stores, organically grown. Just some sort of a labeling system that says this is the dream of a cyber device versus this is a dream of a human with a bit of cyber advice versus I'm raw, I'm
Yeah.
organic.
Bernie, what we authors are trying to get Amazon to do is to let the consumer know they are buying an AI generated book and let them have the choice of if they want to spend their money on a book like that or they want a real author. We did a massive petition to Amazon because they were suddenly publishing thousands of books every day to stop all of the virtual rioting. Amazon then put this little button when you publish a book. It's a little button, a tick box, and is your book AI assisted? Tick. Is your book AI generated? Tick. The consumer still doesn't know. However, they think it appeases everyone because they've done something now to say, yes, you can tell us if it's AI generated. It doesn't make a difference. Because they've done that move, it's like they care that we're unhappy and they're going to do something about it. But it's still not fair on the consumer to know what they're spending their money on.
So if you're using AI tools, you don't want it to plagiarize 4 or 5 different sources and amalgamate it together and then apply the English rules like Grammarly would. And by the way, I use Grammarly also. And sometimes even when Grammarly does its best job of, yeah, no, that word's got to go back the way it was
Exactly.
because it
It,
matters.
the human element isn't there. It thinks that's the correct way to write a sentence. But when it's coming from someone's voice, we don't talk like that. And that's the difference.
Are there tools you would recommend that would support? What limitations would you say if you use this? Good enough for this part? For even when you're writing a plot for a movie, there are other plots that are like 4 or 5 running plots because otherwise it becomes a lecture and falls asleep before the end of the show or the end of the book. What tools would you recommend people use, and what are the limitations of those tools?
I will be honest with you. I'm accepting starting to. I've been using Grammarly, but I don't think of that as AI. I never have done, but it is, of course. Any spell check, it's AI.
Yeah.
So we've been using AI without realizing for many years. And I know ChatGPT. What were you saying about eating the tongue?
Yep.
Yeah, that one. Many people use it for different reasons, not to just publish a book and to put it out there, but for research, for help with plotting, for help with content writing, students' homework. As long as, again, because of copyright, you regenerate what it's telling you, put it into your own voice. I don't see a problem using that software. Copilot and Bing for graphics can be very strange when you ask them to design a certain thing. It's still not what you want, but you've got the idea's there, you can use it or you can't use it. And if you've got the idea, what's stopping you then going to a graphic designer and saying, can you do that for me? Because then the human element is in and there's going to be a difference. It should be hybrid. We shouldn't allow human creativity to disappear. We have to work with AI, but we need a 50-50 sort of thing. I can't give any software names or programs because I've only just started accepting this and starting to understand it and work with it.
There is no question that Amazon changed the rules for publishing. To deny it would be foolish. And it is also true that you get your book published versus a basement full of your text. And there's words like hybrid, and you mentioned Vanity Press and how you got stung. If you are not going to attract a random house or two or three others, how do you use a hybrid product safely to protect yourself and actually get your product out there where you would just get rejection letters instead?
Honestly, you hire someone like Author Assist, who mentors and coaches you, who you can trust, who knows what they're talking about, and can help you either go the self-publishing route or submit to the major publishers the correct way. Just writing a book, sticking it on Amazon and hoping it sells, it doesn't work. There's magic, there's special buttons that need to be pressed. And Author Assist, we've been doing that, my team, for over 30 years now. You can see the testimonials of people that we've worked with, how we've helped them in all different stages their author career, not just writing a book, not just launching a book, but branding and logo design for an author. We help with that. Name for someone's company because they couldn't come up with a name. We'll help with that. It's like with the TV, with the podcast, with the radio show that I help with. It's all about promoting these authors and getting their book out there, making their dreams come true. That's why I started Author Assist. It wasn't to a done for you service. It was to teach them how to do it themselves. And if they haven't got the time to do it themselves, then fair enough. Let me know what VA work you need doing and I'll get it done. But if they have the time to learn how to do it themselves, then the next book, they don't have to hire anyone. They know the correct way to do it and what to avoid through the process of me teaching them. They get all that. I go above and beyond what their service they're paying for because I want to help them as much as I can. Author Assist started to help authors and writers make their dreams come true and to do it the right way.
Great. What are the key points? And I think you just highlighted them. I'm going to swing it back over to Wayne.
Let's assume somebody has done some scribbling and they're a wannabe writer and they know they're stuck, want to meet you. How are they going to hold you?
AuthorAssistByKK.com. And you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn as Author Assist or Karina Kantas and get in touch. We'll have a Zoom call. It doesn't cost anything to give you that advice. I don't charge for advice. I want to help as many people as I can. Of course, you have to pay the bills. My generosity goes above and beyond because I have that knowledge. I want to give it to people. I know that the people that I give that knowledge to is then going to pass it on to someone else.
Do you service the UK, Europe, North America?
My clients are everywhere. I've had Australia for book covers and been on the podcast. I've done voiceovers for people in Germany. I've worked with Thailand, the US are my major 2 countries that I work with. I work with everyone. I have chronic insomnia. It doesn't matter about time zones, wherever they are in the world, I can make it work.
I want to say thank you to Karina Kantas, my co-host Wayne Pratt, and more importantly, you, the Knack for Business listeners. If you're feeling that urge to write a story, whether it's true fiction or you're going to write a story about, hey, I've discovered the next best slice of bread type of version of life, Karina is the person to reach out to, whether you're using AI or just need the human touch. To reach us, info at KREATIVINSIGHT.com. BraveInsight.com is the website. And Wayne, how can folks reach you, sir?
Best way is my website, motiv8u.ca. My email is wayne@motivateyou.ca.
If you would like to be a guest on this podcast and share your knowledge, let us know. We would also appreciate your feedback on the content or format. Check the show notes for more details. For these podcasts, we like to acknowledge the support and thanks to the following people: Carl Richards from Podcast Solutions Made Simple, a renowned podcast expert; Fred Crouch, who is the Property Wizard podcaster; Javan Strika from at Hive Coworking Space; Melanie Weber, Bernie's invaluable business partner; and Wayne Pratt from Motivate You Inc., who serves as both a coach and co-host. Disclaimer: please note that the Knack for Business podcast episodes are meant solely for educational and general informational purposes. The information and opinions contained within are not intended to be professional advice on any subject matter. The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by the participants are their own personal beliefs and do not represent the views of the podcast hosts or any affiliated organizations. It is important to note that this podcast is not a replacement for consulting with certified experts in your area who possess knowledge of your unique situation. The hosts of the podcast, along with any participants or affiliated groups, do not take responsibility for any actions taken or not taken based on the information presented in this episode. It is highly recommended that individuals seek guidance from their own personal advisors in fields such as accounting, law, or other pertinent areas prior to undertaking any actions or making decisions that may impact their financial, legal, or other aspects of life.